Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another Q&A ahead of Gameweek 23, this time with myself and a very glamorous Sam Bonfield. How are you, Sam?
I am feeling all the glam today. This is what happens when you have two makeup artists who have an hour of time with you, and one can do your makeup and one can do your hair, and you come out going, I'm all right today.
It's a fun outfit with the little frills and stuff as well on the side.
It's actually, to be fair, this is my bargain outfit. I won't tell you how much it was, but it was not expensive.
Well, you're wearing it very well. How was the FPL show today?
It was great. I love going down to the FPL show. Like it's just so fun, isn't it, going in the studio? And it's really lovely to see Ian. Obviously, I've been working with Ian quite a lot on the official pod as well. So being able to see him, and we had Focal and FPL Salah on the line. So it's nice to speak to those guys as well. Yeah, it's been a great Friday, to be honest. And it's only going to get better because there's a lot of you coming for me this afternoon.
Oh, yes. We are out. Where are we going? We're going to Craft and Cleaver tonight, aren't we?
We're going on an actual date.
You, me, and I guess Eleanor and Leah come in as well.
Bring them as well. We'll gaze lovingly at each other across the table.
Oh, it's gonna be very nice. And you're coming to us, so I haven't even got to drive all the way to where you live. So
no, we'll come pick you up and everything if you like.
Oh, wow, amazing limo service.
I'm like, and look, I've got my massive cup of tea just in case anyone's going to comment.
We'll take you up on that, way. A bit of live travel plans. We've got Linus saying you look very glamorous. We've got Frode saying Glam Sam. Hello to FPL Yellow Army. Hello to Stephen Ty. Hello to FPL Freddy. Harry. Hello even to Fraser Gray. I was going to say Arizona, but he's from Arizona. It's Fraser Gray. Nice to see you. Bits and bobs. Tech issues. No tech issues today. Nothing at all?
I was running a bit late because I hadn't plugged my mic in. So when I came into the thing, it was picking up the wrong mic. So I just had to go back out and come back in. It was actually my fault today that we're a little bit late.
Thank you. No, not my fault for once. I had to even Skelly as well. You mentioned about it being Good Friday. I disagree. I think it's an awful Friday because my team now has two flags in the shape of João Pedro and Darwin. We've had no concrete news on them. I don't know whether to sell Watkins for Haaland, which I think a few people are debating as well. I'm in a bit of a mess this week. How's your team looking? We're both on red arrows.
Oh yeah, but I'm so annoyed with myself. I feel like I just make one bad decision after another at the moment. Like I can't make a good decision. And I was on for a green arrow, and I was like, okay, I've just got Areola left to play. I benched Solanke on the basis that I was like, right, all eggs in the Areola basket. Let's just go with that. Because I didn't want to bench Palmer or Gordon. So in the end, I benched Solanke, which was like, I know. So then Solanke's typically, Gordon has his assist taken away. Fine. Solanke scores a goal. Not fine. Takes out the arrow. It's just one of those things. So the green arrow that I did have going into last night then went red. But again, it's just one of those things, isn't it? Like I can't help but feel just a little bit disappointed with half my team at the moment. But... Yeah.
I just had a crap week, and
sometimes it happens.
And I look at my team, I just think this team should have done all right, and they just didn't.
My Brighton boys massively let me down. Like Gross and Estupinian just in the mud. KDB captain, I can't help but feel that was. I feel like I'm a bit disappointed he didn't get more than just one assist in that game. Obviously, I had Alvarez, but I hadn't captained him. I benched Solanke. I don't have a forward from Spurs for the little craziness that was going on there against Brentford. I don't have Tony. Like it was just one of those weeks. And then Ollie Watkins actually did return. I don't know. Like it felt like a reasonable week for me, but yet still a red arrow.
Well, that's kind of what I thought. I mean, I got 46, which is pretty low, but
I had 55, which I didn't think was that bad.
I know there's not much in it, but I mean, people had Alvarez, didn't they? Quite a few captainers of Alvarez as well. I didn't have Richarlison, obviously scored, and he was highly captained. Although I had Foden, but then like Jota did well, he was highly bought, and you know my Darwin, my Pedro, my Stupinan, all just didn't really deliver. So yeah, bit of a disappointing week. But you know we'll go again. Oh, I'm getting some love. Actually, look amazing, says HK. Thanks, babe.
You always look handsome.
Oh, and Linus K as well. You look good too, as. Oh, keep these coming.
Look, see.
Very nice, very nice.
That's love.
It is. I like it. Let's take some questions then. Get your questions in. We'll try and answer as many as we can. We'll take this one from Mark Khan. First of all, Eze captain. Again, I see quite a few people bought him in and captained him last week. What a move that was.
Yeah, and they were really good actually together, weren't they, Eze and Elise? What did Hodgson have to say about the injury to Eze?
He pretty much said the same as Pedro. They're going to have to make a late call, I believe, on him.
Yeah, see that would put me off the captaincy. Because is it one of those things that if he's not quite 100%, he's on the bench and then comes on if needed?
He's had all these injury problems like all season, has he? So
yeah,
are they going to want to take a risk? I think it's a bit different with Pedro because like we haven't got any players and he hasn't really been injured. And I feel like if he can get on the pitch with one leg, he'll get him on. But
yeah,
Eze, they might just be trying to be a bit more careful with him. He's going to move in the summer. They don't want him out for getting a year-long injury where they're going to miss out on 60, 70 million for him probably. So yeah. I think he's probably a bit risky. Who are they even playing this week? Oh, they're playing Brighton.
You lot.
Yeah, but we're at home.
Derby. It's a massive derby.
Yeah, we're better at home than we are away. We haven't. I can't remember the last time we lost at home. Just looking.
But you're so Jekyll and Hyde this season. So Jekyll and Hyde.
The last time we lost at home was in Gameweek 3 against West Ham. So.
But you haven't won that many at home either, have you? There's been a lot of draws.
A lot of draws. We drew with Wolves, beat Spurs.
But that was weird. That result.
We beat Brentford. We drew with Burnley. We drew with Sheffield United. Yeah, I mean the results haven't been amazing, but we're not. I'm not expecting us to concede 4 goals to Palace. Or I wasn't expecting to concede 4 goals to Luton. But I think Eze's a bit much. I think there's probably better options this week. Who's your captain this week?
It's on KDB at the moment.
Yeah, that's where I'm going as well. I think.
Oh God, I'm going somewhere else.
Oh, I don't blame you. Got a few talk about Brighton. What to do with João Pedro, hat-trick at the FA Cup and then nothing against Luton. Oh, he's a really frustrating one. The hat-trick of the FA Cup was really annoying. I think he plays. I was a bit worried when I saw the injury. But if he's facing a late fitness test, I think unless it is like a categorical, if he plays, he will re-injure himself. I just think he starts because who else are we going to play? In that position. It could be Welbeck on the left with Ferguson up top, but that is really not where De Zerbi wants to be. So I think he starts. I think you keep him for Palace. I'll be playing him this week. I think I could bench him for Garnacho, between one of the two. If you could sell him for Haaland, do it. If not, keep him. Probably.
I'm probably going to be forced to bench Gross this week.
Yeah.
And then probably sell him next week. I'm not... I just don't know. I was all in on Brighton, as you know. That Spurs performance, I was like, right, okay, I can take Brighton seriously for a while. Like, it feels like things have changed. Bit of momentum, good players coming back from injury. With Stupinian coming back, it was like, okay, things are moving in the right direction. The Stupinian's done all right since I had him until the game against Luton. And I just did not see that result coming at all. I did not see it. And then he gets withdrawn on 46 minutes and it's like, oh, great. Well, that's just wonderful. 0 points for you. And Gross nothing. And didn't really look likely to get anything either. So I can't see me holding Gross much longer. It feels like that was a calculated gamble that's gone badly. And I need to fix it.
Yeah, I mean, I got that wrong as well. I mean, I doubled up with Brighton. I got a stupid in. I went for Pedro. I thought with the break, with, the fixtures the way they were, I thought good things might be on the horizon. But it's been... this is the 3rd game in a row now we haven't scored in. And it's... You look at the options around Gross's price at 6.5. We've, go up to Jota a little bit more money. You got Richarlison at 7.
Yeah.
Eze, Elise, Gordon, all these players. It's like, he's got to really turn things around, and Brighton have to make it worth it. So, yeah, I think I'd probably agree. Would you replace Gross with KDB? I mean, that seems like a great move, doesn't it?
Yeah, I will. I would, for sure, if I didn't have KDB already. I think next week I'm going to be looking at Gross to Maddison. I think that's probably what I'm looking at. But yeah, I certainly think that Gross to KDB is a bit of a no-brainer, actually. Yeah, I agree with that as well. Quite a lot of questions around Haaland, unsurprisingly. Haaland in for Darwin, says Stephen Ty. Haaland captain, says Mike Parsons as well. I saw another question about Watkins as well. I planned Watkins to Haaland, says Bits and Bobs, but now I have a potentially croc Darwin, and I'm not sure Haaland starts. What do we do with Haaland then, Sam? You getting him in this week? Yes.
You are. Who for?
Yeah, Alvarez.
Okay, even with the brace.
Yeah, because I think when I bought Alvarez in, it was at the time where Haaland was rumoured to be You know, he was going to blank anyway. There was the rumour of the injury and all of that kind of stuff. And I was like, okay, well, why don't I just get Alvarez in? He can cover out Haaland for this period of time when he's not there, and they had nice fixtures. And to be fair, he's done a reasonable job for me in that period of time. But things were very different in the early part of the season, because even when he was playing up top alongside Haaland and was really good in the very early stages of the season, we didn't have KDB there. Now we've got KDB and Haaland coming back. That's surely going to have a big impact on where Alvarez plays, his position on the field. Probably play a little bit deeper, probably be less attacking. Until, of course, Haaland comes off, because even if Haaland starts, I wouldn't expect him to get 90 minutes in the game on Monday evening. I'd expect him to have maybe the 70-ish minutes that KDB got in Gameweek 22. So then it's a calculated gamble, isn't it? If Haaland starts and gets 70 minutes, then for those 70 minutes, I'm expecting João Pedro. I've got him on the brain. I'm expecting Alvarez to play. I know, playing Alvarez to play a bit deeper, because KDB will be in there as well, affecting his position slightly, and therefore it's an educated gamble. Because for the double, I want Haaland over Alvarez, and I don't want Alvarez as one of my 3 City players for Gameweek 25. So I've got the money to go straight across. So that's what I'm going to do.
Nice. Yeah, so the only way I can get him is by doing Watkins to Haaland.
Not Darwin.
Can't afford the Darwin move. I mean, to be fair, I kind of don't want to get rid of Darwin. I mean, it was the most ridiculous game ever for him. That was everything about what Darwin was about, wasn't it? He put up an XGI of 1.74, which is his second highest in the league this season. That is absolutely insane numbers. Yeah. Hit the post 4 times, broke the record for that, missed a penalty as well. Could have had 5 goals. Let's be honest, that could have been 5. Well, it could have been 4, right? Because one of the posts was a penalty as well. So let's say he gets 4 goals. I am really struggling this season. I need that chaos. I need that chance that he just goes absolutely ballistic in one game, and he's just not a player that I can sell. He's got 15% ownership. I think I just need to keep him. Watkins is the one. He's 55% owned, and he's not really delivering big enough returns.
I think you're a brave man.
Well, I'm not saying I'm doing. I don't know if I'm going to do it this week. I mean, it's going to be Watkins to Haaland either this week or next week.
Okay.
It's Sheffield United this week. That is as good as it gets, isn't it? So maybe Watkins gets another week, and then I move from there. But you say I'm brave for going without Watkins. Surely it's even braver to go without Haaland, right?
100%. Yeah.
Yeah. And if you're picking one, then you pick Haaland all day, every day.
Yes, absolutely. I agree. I wouldn't. It's difficult, isn't it? Because my obvious choice is to sell Alvarez. I don't want to sell Alvarez. It's not like I'm desperate to sell him, particularly after the brace on Wednesday evening. But that's the obvious move, because I think Haaland coming back is going to affect Alvarez's position with KDB and all of that I talked about before. The thought of selling Watkins kind of weirdly terrifies me, and I don't know why that is, because as you said, he hasn't exactly been setting the world on fire lately. I don't know whether it's the slightly anxious FPL manager in me that goes, he's quite highly owned, and there's the sort of shield that comes with having him, I guess. But then Alvarez is relatively highly owned, and I'm happy to sell him. Solanke's another one. What do you do about Solanke? He's got a nice fixture this week. There will be a double some point on the horizon. It's all a bit tough because there's only the 3 forward slots, and we knew this was going to be a problem when Haaland comes back. So people are going to have to make some brave decisions, and it's either going to be a brave decision to say, well, I'm not having Haaland, or it's going to be a brave decision to say I'm going to get rid of somebody else. And it's just which of those brave decisions is the right one, I guess. 6 blanks in 13 for Watkins, 1 double-digit haul in that time, 11. It's not great. What is the are people thinking he's going to get another 23 points like he gets Brighton? Because there hasn't really been any signs of that. I mean, his XGI numbers have been decent, but not spectacular. His best was by far against Burnley when he got 1.05. It was okay against Newcastle and he got the goal in that one, but I don't know. He seems to be the fixtures are still good, but he, as an asset, he has been on the decline for a little while. So it's just,
I don't know. It's just. I mean, this Foreign Swift says Haaland looked refreshed and hungry when he came on. I thought the exact opposite of that. I thought he looked laboured and didn't have a good touch on him at all. That miss kick he did was very unlike Haaland, and I thought he looked like he still needed, rest. But I was watching that through the lens of someone who didn't know him. I was probably a bit biased in there. I didn't think he looked refreshed. I definitely didn't think he looked refreshed.
No, I didn't either. I'll be honest. So we were watching, obviously Spurs were on. So we had Spurs on the TV for the last 20 minutes. Once Liverpool went to half time, and we Spurs off the iPad back onto the TV and then put Man City on the iPad. And I couldn't really watch it. It was really stressing me out because KDB had gone off and I don't have Haaland. And I was like, just no. I'll just watch Spurs. And I kept looking over at it because obviously Lee and I had it between us on the sofa. So I was sort of watching it like this. And that air kick that he did, I was like, that I've got away with one there. That's him. He's not quite fully match fit. He's not quite fully there in his, I think he looked good. There were some moments where he, he got through on goal and the defender did really well. But I didn't think he looked refreshed. I didn't think he looked fully there. But in 5 days, with another few training sessions under his belt, I don't want to be without him. It was horrendous watching those last 20 minutes, not having him. Honestly, I was so stressed. Oh, and I mean, the Spurs game wasn't helping. That was also stressing me out because Brentford were coming on strong. But I was really stressed not having Haaland. And I just was like, I cannot do another game like this. I just needed to get him back in.
What did you think of, so there's a few questions around Foden. So David NL, Richarlison or Foden. For KDB, I'm guessing looking to sell one for KDB. I mean, Richarlison's surely a hard sell with the way he's been playing and the goals he's been getting. Foden,
I don't think you can sell Richarlison at the moment.
No, nor do I.
And Foden is... So when we was recording the pod this week, Jules and Kelly both talked about selling Foden. And at the time I was like, okay. But the more I think about it, the more I think, well, it sort of does make sense because we saw him go out, and he did get the assist from there, but we saw him go much further out wide once they were back. And then when you're not in that central position, the reason why we've loved Foden so much in the last few weeks is because of that central position that he's been taking up. You move back out wide and you are a bit more in the laps of the gods when it comes to returning points. Like, it doesn't feel like he's as assured of points as he maybe was playing in that central position. And I think he's going to spend much, much less time playing in that central position because they've got their squad back now and they've got their key personnel back and available. So it would be a reluctant sell for me. However, I think that KDB is a significantly better pick than Foden. And therefore, if it comes to a choice, if you have to sell one of those two to get KDB in, then I would rather sell Foden over Richarlison.
Yeah. It's difficult with the double game week to
It's very difficult. And the potential blank for Spurs as well.
I mean, who do you think the best 3 City players are to own for the double game week then? Well, we're going to say KDB and Haaland, aren't we? They're the 2 main ones.
Yeah, the third one is an interesting... It's interesting because I don't know. Like, I was fully in the Kyle Walker camp. Like, go for a defender for the double. But I feel less sure with all the stuff that's been going on with him. And then obviously with him not playing in the middle of the week. I quite like the idea of Rodri in the cheap midfielder slot. But I don't know that I love that. Like, I don't think that there's a really obvious third. And I think the third is going to be that's going to be the pivot point. That's going to be the one that makes a big difference across the double game week. And you have to be thinking about who's Pep going to play twice and get 90 minutes out of. And the only player that I think you're really, really certain to get both games from is probably somebody like Rodri or Ederson.
Yeah. I mean, Walker's a interesting, wasn't it? Because, I mean, he's been dropped because of obviously all the personal things that are going on. But
then Pep said he's still the captain. And
well, exactly. It's kind of like, has he just been given a week off just to kind of get his head together?
Out the headlight.
Yeah, and then he's going to come back in and start playing every minute. I don't suddenly think he's a rotation risk. So I think if you've got Walker, he's an easy hold and you carry on. And he's someone that you probably want to be looking at if you haven't got the three City. I mean, someone's mentioned Doku. I mean, that was where all the play was going, wasn't it? Down the left to Doku over and over and over again, just to try and get him on the ball as much as possible. FPL Freddy makes a good point in the chat. Walker playing means Foden might not be as wide. I think that's true, because we saw Foden hugging that touchline because they didn't really have anyone else that could bomb up and down the right wing. That's what Walker does really well, which lets Foden drift aside a bit more. So I think it's a wait and see with Foden. Would I be selling Foden for De Bruyne though? Yeah, probably. If that was the only way I could get, if it's Richarlison or Foden, I wouldn't be selling Richarlison. So yeah, I think you've got to look at that. Lots to talk about Maddison. You mentioned you might be bringing him in next week. I had a question here about Porro on his input. Let me see if I can find it. Yeah, what do you think of Porro and Maddison?
I want Maddison immediately. I want him 3 days ago back in my team. Like I just miss not having Maddison in my team. The 26 unknown does bother me, because obviously at the moment it's still postponed, waiting on what happens with the League Cup. No, the FA Cup result from Chelsea and Aston Villa as to exactly what's happening with that fixture.
I mean 29.
I mean 26, because if they go out the FA Cup, it could still stay in 26 in the midweek.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, interesting.
Which is why it's not officially been called a blank yet for those two. It's just postponed still for those two. Okay. If you notice the wording, it's a blank for Liverpool and Luton, but it's postponed for Chelsea and Spurs, because they could slot it into the midweek if both sides are out of the FA Cup.
Okay.
So I'm waiting to see on that, because obviously if Spurs play then it does make a difference to what you would do about Spurs. I currently, in that blank game week, I have one Chelsea player, Palmer. I have one Spurs player, Porro. I have no Liverpool and I have no Luton. So actually the blank, I can afford to carry one more player through the blank. I love the difference that Maddison made. I think from a Porro perspective, I didn't think it made that much difference. They shared the set pieces in terms of the corners. They weren't, as I predicted on the stream last week, it doesn't, Maddison coming back didn't mean he automatically took all of them. In fact, weirdly, Kulusevski took a couple as well, which I thought was random. But Porro was taking a substantial number of them as well. So it didn't make a huge amount of difference. He still had some opportunities for shots on goal. The defensive stuff is difficult because the clean sheets, I thought Udogie had a really difficult game. Difficult game. He was poured out. I know you'll come up with, well, I got the points, didn't he? And I get that, but defensively he really struggled down that side. It was his side that was really in difficulty, and I think Spurs defensively it still needs a bit more bringing together before the clean sheets are there. But Porro you don't have for clean sheets, you have Porro for the attacking potential.
Yeah. So Porro a keep, Maddison a buy. That's what you're saying on that then.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, I very nearly went for Maddison. I had the money.
I want him.
I had the money for De Bruyne, or I could have gone for Maddison, and I was 50-50 right up until the deadline. And in the end, I went for De Bruyne, and it made no difference last week because they both got the same points. But this week, it has affected things because I can't afford Pedro to Haaland. It had to be Watkins. So these things can have a bit of a ripple, like knock-on effect going forward. But if I didn't have De Bruyne and I went for Haaland, I'd be thinking, I wish I had De Bruyne. So, there's you can never win like fully. There's always going to be players that you want and can't have because that is the nature of the game. Bradley Gardner likes your shout on Rodri as well. If you're struggling for cash, then he is not a bad option, is he? I mean, he's 77 points. He's got 2 goals and an assist in his last 3 games as well. He's got nearly 10 attacking returns this season. That's pretty good for a 5.6 million asset.
It's what I think I'm going to do.
You're going to go for Rodri? Okay.
I think so. I think that's my plan. I think currently my plan is to move for Rodri for the double. So I'll have Haaland and KDB and then get Rodri in as my third. I look at the others and I think, I could go for a Foden, but that's going to involve me spending more budget, selling somebody that I probably don't want to sell, selling a Saka or a Maddison or somebody of that kind of mid-price territory towards the premium end that I don't really want to get rid of. Whereas I can get Rodri in for Palmer or in for Gordon, or it's not going to be too disruptive to my team to be able to get him in, and the sort of player that I can move on for somebody else that's going to double at a later date. So I just think that nobody really inspires me apart from KDB and Haaland but Rodri's posting some really decent underlying numbers, so probably going to go there.
Yeah, no, do you know what? I don't hate it. He's the kind of player who, when he blanks, you're always going to be like, yeah, I probably shouldn't have got the defensive midfielder from City, but at the same time, he crops up.
But then he might not blank, yeah.
No, exactly.
And he will play both games across the double.
Absolutely. He's nailed on. He will play, and he has a habit of scoring important goals for them.
So, if he gets 3 in the first game and then gets 3 and a random worldie of a goal in the second, like if he comes out of that game week with, say, 10 across the double, you'd be delighted with that return from Rodri. Whereas if Foden came out with 10, I'd be like, oh, I'm a bit disappointed.
Yeah, agreed. BB Defender says, hi Az, has there been any chat among Brighton fans about Estupiñán and his halftime sub versus Luton? Well, actually, it saved him losing a point, didn't it? So in some ways it was better because we conceded again. Wondering if it was injury or tactical. I wouldn't worry too much about it. I mean, we played Igor at left centre-back, which didn't work because Igor, I don't think, is really up to it at the moment. Whether he kind of, improves.
Will he ever be?
Exactly. Will he improve? I haven't seen enough of him this season to think he's gonna nail that spot down. I thought Estupiñán's been really good in that spot as well. So I was a bit surprised to see that change made. The fact was we were 3-0 down at half time. Estupiñán's been out for months with an injury. I think De Zerbi thought we're not going to get back into this, and it's time to take him off. He could have taken off any player in that match. Every single one of the team was awful. So. And no one improved the team when they came on. So I just
bless you.
I just wouldn't worry about it. I think if you've got him, he's our best left back. He's going to play. I don't think De Zerbi's going to blame that on Estupiñán's performance. Everyone was terrible.
I was at yoga on Tuesday night, and when that game started, and I was quite happily relaxed at the end of my yoga class. Came out, got my phone out of my bag, and I was like, "What the." Like, do you know what I mean? Like, when you look at it and you're like, Luton have done what now? Like, what's happened? What happened to my Estupiñán clean sheet? What's going on? And it just got worse and worse, didn't it?
I was on my way to football and it was 2-0 and I was like, oh, at least when I come out of football,
yeah, it'll be better.
You've got that hope that, it'll be 2-2 or 3-2 and a great comeback. And we finished the game and someone said, oh, it's, I was like, what's the score? And they went 4-0 and I was like, yeah, what really is the score? And they were like, no, 4-0.
4-0.
I was just like, oh my God, that is...
Jeez.
That's bad. I mean, it's another game where we've just started terribly. And
it's a bit like that game against Spurs against Newcastle last year.
Yeah.
Where everything went wrong. And you just watched it and you were just like, this is terrible. Everything's gone to pot. Nobody was improving anything. It was just getting worse and worse. And it was that game for Brighton this year.
Yeah, I mean, what's been happening in those kind of games for us this season? We've had poor starts to games, but then in the second half, or just before the second half, I've really started to get it together, and we just couldn't get it together. Like, we made Ross Barkley look like bloody prime Iniesta.
Ross Barkley looked epic.
He was unbelievable in that match. Absolutely unbelievable. So, yeah, we need a change. Milner's out now. I don't know who's going to play at right back, and I don't know who's playing at centre back. And Pedro's got a doubt. It's a concern with our players. But I think a home game against Palace, if there's ever a game to get things back on track, then it's going to be this one. Bill Leary says you were great on the FPL show.
Oh, thank you. Do you know, it's one of those, isn't it? Sometimes you do the fantasy show and you think, that was okay. And then other times you finish it and you're like, that was a really nice show today. Like, it felt really good. Like, do you know, as a content creator, sometimes, it's with every show, it's the same. Like, sometimes I do these and I'm like, that was a bit weird today. That was a bit random. And sometimes you finish it and you're like, that was great. It felt like a really good one today. Hopefully you like my yellow shoes. I feel like I dressed like Wolves today. I was saying that to you before I came. I had my mustard shoes on. I got my mustard belt on. Yeah.
Are you a secret Wolves fan?
No. But, I do love a mustard. Like mustard colour. Mustard's my colour, I think.
Hang on.
What you got?
Mustard blanket.
Yeah, hang on, look. These are my shoes. They're right next to me. They were epic. Look. Look
at those.
Look at them.
Yeah, proper mustard.
Yeah, proper, and they're proper high. I was like
tinkering
around.
East London, yeah, mustard shoes.
All the mustard.
What did you make of Rashford? Dr. David, 1963, another goal for him. Obviously, lots of talk about his antics doing tequilas in the nightclub. I love that. You see the interview with Carragher. Was it Carragher, Keane, and Neville, was it?
Yeah.
And they were all just like, we've all been there. We've all gone out. We've all had a few too many drinks. We've all regretted it, And then you had, was it Ian Wright? Like, he's 26. He should know better. And it's like, oh, come on, Wrighty.
He's not a baby anymore.
You've been out past the curfew. I mean, that's what you want, though, isn't it? You a player like that, obviously, drags the club like through the mud a bit in the press and everything. But then comes in with a performance, gets a goal against Wolves, and a frankly amazing win. I mean, that goal from Manu,
ridiculous goal.
I was like, he just beat like 4 players.
They just left.
Just
started off him, didn't they? It was ridiculous. It was such a good goal.
And to have done that after 98 minutes on the pitch as well. I mean, I'm bloody knackered after I play about 15. Let alone,
particularly when it was like right at the death, they'd only just conceded. You could have understood them just being like, oh,
incredible,
God, But
absolutely,
no, it was a really good goal.
And I do think, now with Manchester United, I think, they've got Casemiro back, they've got Shaw back, they've got Martinez. Having a centre-back who can actually dictate tip tempo and play football a bit. I mean, look at Liverpool without Van Dijk when they lose Van Dijk.
Yeah.
So I think there's a big difference. They've got the front four that's working, Fernandes, Garnacho, Rashford and Haaland up top. They're a better unit now, and I don't think we should completely write them off. It's just, I mean, it's West Ham next, then it's Villa, Luton, Fulham. Fulham. It's not bad. I mean, it's Fulham in 26. That's a time when there might be blanks. Let's say Spurs and Chelsea does get killed off. I've got Garnacho. Am I just trying to talk myself into holding him?
I don't think there's anything wrong with holding Garnacho. If you've got him, just hold him. It's not exactly a big problem, is he? Like, it's not taking up loads of budget unless you want to swap him for Rodri.
Yeah, well, Rodri's too expensive. I can't afford anyone but Garnacho. At the moment, BB Defender says you should get dropped more often. Yeah, probably should. Maybe Tenar's going to take them all out to the same nightclub and
just constantly. It's just going to have bottles of tequila in the changing room now. Drink a couple of shots before you get out, boys. See what happens.
Trini Guna says, "Hey, oh God, what's your master plan to revive your season and climb the ranks?"
I'm going to sit back and listen to this. Come on, let's hear it.
I'd love to tell you that I had a master plan. Every week, I look at my team and I think, yeah, this looks all right. Gonna have a good week this week. And every week, I mean, I went into this week with De Bruyne and Foden against Burnley at home.
Yeah.
We both started and I thought this is going to be great. And then Alvarez gets a brace and they just come away with an assist each. I don't know. I've sold Watkins and he's hauled. I've held on to Watkins and he's blanked. I've watched Darwin hit the post 4 times. I've seen Pedro go off injured. I've seen this new Bradley Liverpool right back like absolutely
21
get
points.
21 points when that should have been Trent. I am finding this season unbelievably tough, and anytime I feel like I'm climbing, I end up dropping back the next week. I'd love to tell you I have a master plan. I'm just gonna keep doing what I've always done and try and buy players in who I think are going to get points. And not panic too much. I mean, Dr. David says you've got to go off the template. It's the only way. I mean, I agree and I don't agree. I mean, that's sometimes a surefire way for things to get worse when you start backing.
You have to be So this is what I was kind of talking about with Watkins a bit with the Shield thing. Because when you're trying to game rank, like both of us, to be fair, like I'm having a stinker as well the last few weeks. And you have to be really careful because you don't want to go completely rogue. Because if you go completely rogue, then you run the risk of dropping further behind because you take out the important players. So you want to have like the key structure of heavily owned players. So you want to have the KDBs, the Haalands. You want to have, probably Ollie Watkins, to be fair. And then you want to use the peripheral slots, like where you've got Garnacho. And those are the positions, like where I've got Gross, that's a position that should really be working for me. That should be the one that's gaining me rank. But it's not because I'm on the wrong one. So those are the players I want to move around, and I want to hold the players that are going to be my shields and protect my rank, and then I want to move the other players around so that I can gain rank out of them because they're going to give me the biggest green arrows if I get them right.
Yeah, see, I mean, I completely agree with all of that. I think that's a lot of what the game is, knowing when to...
Strategy.
Knowing when... But at the same time, Watkins... I look at Watkins and I think he hasn't got the penalties.
No. I get why you've got to sell him. Like, for your team, I understand.
Yeah. I mean, he's the kind of... So, he's not someone that I particularly want to sell, but I'm looking at him and thinking he's highly owned. He's not really delivering. And I've got Darwin there, who's lesser owned, who's actually matching him for points. I know, as ridiculous as it sounds.
I know.
Darwin's actual output has been pretty good over the last 4 weeks.
As long as he's fit.
As long as he's fit. And it's Burnley. I don't really want to sell, Darwin ahead of Burnley at home in 24. No. So, yeah, I think it's just a case of knowing when to kind of roll the dice a little bit and when not to. And I haven't been doing that well this season because I've been getting it wrong. I've been rolling the dice when I shouldn't have done. I've been sticking with players for too long. It's tough. Jared wants us to move on. He wants us to talk about Newcastle assets.
Okay.
I have got none in my team at the moment, and they're playing Luton at home, which looks great.
One of which doesn't start.
Livramento, you still got him? Yeah.
Yeah, because I still feel so infuriated by Livramento because he comes on against Aston Villa. I thought he was great. He came on, he was great. He won't get the start because Trippier's there. So I've got him and he's a problem. And now the transfer window's closed, I've got to deal with that probably. And then I've got Anthony Gordon, who, I'm glad to own him against Luton. The news about Isak actually made me happy because I think Gordon is better when there's an actual number 9. I don't really like Gordon when he's playing in the 9. I don't think he was as effective there. I like him better when he's out wide. I wish I had a Burn or a Shah or a defender, a cheaper defender that's going to play. Or Dubravka in goal. Why don't I have Dubravka in goal?
Why don't either of us have Dubravka in goal?
Why have I got Martinez and Areola? Why?
I know. Yeah, I really like the look of Newcastle going forward. I think now obviously the transfer window's closed. I think Trippier goes back to being an awesome asset between now and the end of the season.
But can you afford him?
To worry about? Well, you can't. Do you go Trent to Trippier? I think is the question.
Yeah, because you can't have Trent, KDB, Haaland, Salah when he's back, Saka. Even if you choose to have Maddison or Richarlison over Son, you still can't afford all of those and put Trippier in your team. You just can't. It's not workable. Yeah,
Gordon looks great, doesn't he? You look at the home games. You always look at the home games with Gordon, and it's Luton, Bournemouth, Wolves. They're the next 3. Mm-hmm. That's a good 3.
I'm happy with Gordon. Yeah, I'm very happy with Gordon. I just wish I had a defender to go alongside him, one that was actually going to play. Because the thing with Livramento is, he's not one of those players that you can play in the hope that he gets to start across those weeks, because he'll likely come on for a 1-point cameo. So what's going to inevitably happen is that if he does get a start, he'll end up on my bench for it.
Very frustrating. You must be even more frustrated with Livramento because the one game he got points in, you benched him, didn't you? That was against Fulham when he got 9. Yeah.
So annoying.
Yeah, absolutely. Sarah W says Trent might even play midfield and Conor Bradley plays as a right back. Do you think that's likely?
I don't think it's likely against Arsenal. I don't think he's likely
do you think Trent comes back in for that then?
I think he'll start Trent at right back against Arsenal. I think there's a probability that Bradley comes on later on in the game and goes to right back and Trent goes into the middle if Liverpool need that in order to progress the game. But I think that there is a point during the season in maybe some of the easier fixtures where Bradley plays at right back and Trent plays in midfield. But I don't think you want to be taking up a Liverpool slot with Bradley. And I don't think, particularly given the blank game week coming up in 26, I don't think you want to be carrying someone like Bradley through a blank game week. I don't think it's an issue if you've got Trent. I fully expect Trent to start, don't you, against Arsenal at the weekend?
Yeah, to be fair, it was one of the all-time best performances from a player.
He was incredible.
He was absolutely unbelievable. 21 points from an XGI of 0.49.
He should have had more. If he'd have one more assist, then it would have been level with that amazing haul that Trent had all those, seasons before.
He was absolutely ridiculous, and it's harsh to bench him, but surely he goes with the experience of Trent and everything else in that, and gives, like you say, gives Bradley minutes towards the end of the game. That would be what I'd expect to happen. Maybe we do see Trent in midfield. The midfield has been chopping and changing kind of each week. Gravenberg comes in, and Endo comes in. McAllister's now back in the side. Never really sure. The trouble is if Trent does come into midfield, it doesn't always necessarily mean a good thing, because sometimes we see him playing quite deep lying, spreading play, and then it's Bradley bombing up and down, potentially up the wing where you want to see Trent play.
I honestly think Bradley has been so impressive. Those 2 games that I've watched him in the FA Cup against Arsenal and then in the game this week, I just thought he was epic. So solid defensively, great movement with the ball, really, really brilliant attacking threat. Like, for one so young, she says, sounding very old, I just thought he was, like, it was like nothing to him that he was playing for Liverpool. And I was so impressed. I wish you could pick him in FPL, because wouldn't it make life so easy if Klopp was just like, right, Trent, you play in midfield, and Bradley, you're going to play every week at right back, because then we'd all just go, great, 4 million Liverpool starting defender, perfect.
Have a bit of that. I like this from Harry Dawson. Someone in my work mini league bought in Bradley this week and benched him.
No!
Love that. Absolutely love that.
That would actually, I think I'd have cried.
Yeah. Absolutely. And Rotellian says, Trent to Trippier is very possibly my transfer this week. When my team refreshed, I always look at my first instincts. Was my first instinct transfer, and that was straight away my first instinct, Trent to Trippier for my own team.
Yeah, mine was Alvarez to Haaland
as well. Yeah.
So that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to do Trent to Trippier because I want to target that Burnley game still, but I don't blame anyone for thinking about it as well. And I think we'll finish it up there. I will just answer this question from Sai89. Is Mark doing okay? Yeah, Mark's right. He just needed a bit of a break from Twitter in general. Which
everyone needs a break from Twitter from
I can relate to.
Constant,
but yeah, he's fine. He's taking a bit of a break. I'm on holiday next week, and yeah, hopefully Black Box will resume after
I can come on if he's not back.
There you go. Perfect. You're the stand-in.
Imagine. They log on to Black Box and it's me. They'll be like, what the hell's happening here?
What's happened
Why is Sam on Black Box?
if Mark's not back, let's do the first Black
Call
Box
me.
together. You and I.
You call me. Perfect. I've never been on Black Box.
You haven't. It's going to be your debut appearance.
If Mark's not back, call me.
You and I. Perfect. Done deal. Awesome. I think that is it then for us. We will see you all. Well, I won't see you next week. You'll be doing it probably with Joe.
I'll be back with Joe next week. Yeah.
Nice. And then you and I were back the week after. Maybe with a Black Box. No?
Well, I'm on holiday for 2 weeks.
Oh. Well, you don't do Black Box then, are you?
No, I could do Black Box, but that week I might struggle with going to do the Q&A because of holiday.
Okay.
Black Box is Wednesday nights, right?
Yeah.
I'm all right for that.
Okay. Q&A, yeah.
I think actually, is it next week or the week? I think I'm all right.
I think you're right. Okay, we'll chat.
We'll be all right. We'll see each other soon. We'll just discuss it in person.
Yeah, I've seen you in a few hours. Yeah, see you at the barbecue place.
Well, I'll be coming to your house to pick you up.
Andy North being dubbed off Black Box Live is exactly what's happened.
That was a very quick dumping as well.
You were very quick to
go, yes, I'll take
Sam.
Just
chuck him out the window, easy.
Sam's offered, you're done.
Absolutely, yeah. Cool, right. Well, we will see you when we see you. Enjoy the Q&A with Joe next week, Sam, and me and you.
I will. I'll miss you
very soon. Oh,
bye guys.
A sad end. But yeah, we'll be back soon. See you later.
Bye guys.